So in the middle of going in and out, you came into contact with some unlikely people, from my understanding. Tell me about your involvement, meeting, and being around the rapper DMX.
Well, I met him through Kato, one of my very close friends. He was starting his own record label in Chicago, and he became very good friends with DMX. I was always with Kato around those days and that time, and so I got introduced to DMX, and me and him hit it off. I mean, he was a cool cat. My job was just, keep him safe. That was it. Like, watch his back. Whenever he was in Chicago, same thing with Kato. So when I ended up moving out here to Arizona, he had a house out here. I became part of the Phoenix Rough Riders. I mean, they say it's a motorcycle club, but it's a gang. When you have a bunch of grown men, fighting together and doing everything together, it's either the military or it's a gang. So, yeah.
Spent a lot of time around him. What was the most surprising thing, maybe about his personality or anything that he did in those days?
He was really humble, man. He was really humble, and he loved performing for his fans. Everywhere we went, there was a performance in the parking lot or inside the restaurant or a prayer. I mean, we were always somewhere stuck because he would take the time, to talk to everybody. And we just sat there and just, soaked it in, I guess you could say.
DMX was always kind of one of my favorite artists because of his boldness, with the prayers on stage and the songs. And obviously he glorified some other things, but it made a big impression on me as a young kid. There's not a lot of masculine type dudes, at least, that kind of talk about Jesus like that. So I'm curious, did he ever, in your conversations one-on-one with him, did he ever bring up God or, I guess pray at unlikely times, or was there any type of spirituality, I guess?
I mean, with him there was. He talked about it. He prayed. Back then, I didn't. I mean, I would put my head down and he would pray, and I would kind of just do what everybody else was doing, but I wasn't listening. I didn't believe. I was mad at him if he did exist. So there really wasn't no talks about that stuff with me at least.
As a kid, did you have any thoughts on God?
Not really. I mean, the way I looked at it, I just felt like I got dealt a really bad hand. I didn't choose to be put in that situation, so I was kind of like, if he does exist, I mean, why is this happening to me?
And you, I assume, kept that opinion for a long time?
Very long time. I was very mad at him for many, many years.
When did that change?
In 2019, my wife started working at the gym where I worked at. And she was always talking about Jesus. And I kind of liked her, but the whole Jesus thing was throwing me off. And I didn't want to hear about it. And the more we talked and the more I got to know her, I guess you could say I got curious because she was always happy. She was always happy. She was always, in a good mood. She was always smiling, like just full of joy, I guess. And I thought it was fake. And I would tell her all the time, I was like, why are you pretending to be so happy all the time? And I didn't understand it. I didn't comprehend it, and I just couldn't understand how somebody could be, full of joy like that.
And then, 2019, are you out of the revolving door of getting locked up, or where were you with all that?
I had just got out from the last revolving door that I had violated my probation from getting out in 2014. I violated in 2016. They sent me back for a year, and I was back out again.
When you were in prison, you hear the term jailhouse religion. Did you see any of that, or did you come close to any of that in there, or were you too obligated to the members?
No, we seen it a lot in prison because a lot of gang members that get scared when they get sent to higher security yards because they know bad stuff's gonna go down. They pretend to be Christians. They pretend to go to church. They pretend to follow the religion, but then you catch them smoking weed or looking at porn and stuff like that, and they take that very serious in there. Like, you don't play with that stuff. Even the guys that don't believe don't want to mess with it because if it's true, they don't want that karma. So they always tell the guys, they always tell the guys that want to go that route into the religion, yes, you could go. The gang will leave you alone, but if we catch you doing something, you're gonna pay the consequences. And that's how it happens. A lot of guys get beat and get taken off the yard because of that.
Did you ever see at least one person that did, actually become a Christian or born again, or was it all?
No, I seen a lot of hardcore Christians in there that to this day, now that I know the truth, I have a lot of respect for them. I have a lot of respect and a lot of love for them because for them to maintain that Christian-like manner in a place like that, my respects. My respects.
You mentioned the truth. So let's go back to your wife knowing the truth, but you didn't at the time. What happened from there?
She made me watch The Shack. It's a movie. I had seen the book in prison, but I had never really read it. And that movie, it changed the way that I felt about God. I came to realize that, he wanted me to tell him how mad I was. He wanted me to tell him how I felt. Like, he wanted all these things, and I didn't know. I didn't know that I could do that, or I didn't know nothing about religion, so I didn't even know how to pray. So when I watched that movie, I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't stop crying because I started to feel something. Something was like moving around in here, and I just didn't know what it was. So that's where it started. I started to get more curious after that, and I would ask my wife questions, and I have a teacher that's my friend, John Humphrey. He ends up discipling me later, but a good Christian man, has been a Christian since he was 9 years old, cop for 30 years. The unlikeliest friend I would ever have, and he's like one of my best friends now. He started, teaching me and showing me and gave me some devotions to read, and he started coming over to the house. And November 6th, I fell down to my knees. And I just said, you have my attention. Like, I just didn't know what to do from there. And I'll never forget it. The feeling I got, I started crying. I put my head to the floor because I felt like so embarrassed that I couldn't even look up. I started confessing everything out of my mouth. I don't even know why. I didn't even know that I had to do that. And it just all started coming out. Everything. Who I hated, who I had, jealousy against, who I lusted against, like just everything started coming out. And I just felt like a new person when I got up that day. Something was different. And it was in here. So I started to study more. I started to study more. I started looking for a church. I started befriending more Christian men. And here I am today.